Every year, the NFL draft rewrites depth charts across the league. In Kansas City, it's no different, and in fact, it's even more intense. When you're defending back-to-back Super Bowl titles and aiming for a third, every roster spot matters and every rep is earned. With the 2025 NFL Draft now just days away, the Chiefs are once again loaded with needs. From offensive line help to running back reinforcements to fresh faces in the secondary. And with Brett Veach known for finding impact players at every stage of the draft, even day 3 picks can shake up the depth chart. Let's take a closer look at 3 current Chiefs who could find themselves fighting for playing time, or even their roster spot, after Kansas City adds a new wave of talent this weekend. Kareem Hunt, veteran RB on a tightrope. Kareem Hunt's return to Kansas City in 2024 was one of the more surprising and emotional stories of the season. Drafted by the team in 2017 and cut in 2018 after off-field issues, Hunt rejoined the franchise following an injury to Isaiah Pacheco and provided reliable support down the stretch. Now entering the 2025 season, Hunt remains on the roster. But his role is far from secure. With Pacheco healthy and returning to lead the backfield, the Chiefs are reportedly looking to add more explosion and versatility at running back. And it's likely to happen on day 2 or day 3 of the draft. That spells trouble for Hunt. Arrowhead addicts Braden Holsek recently noted, simply put, the Chiefs have to find more juice for their backfield. Getting more explosive around Patrick Mahomes should be a goal moving forward. Truer words haven't been spoken. Enter Devin Neal, the Kansas Jayhawks star who rushed for over 200 yards and 16 touchdowns in 2024. Neal also added over 300 receiving yards, proving he's a complete back with home run speed and local hero potential. If the Chiefs take a swing on Neal, or a similar back, Hunt could quickly go from rotational piece to odd man out. Joshua Williams, a promising CB facing a real challenge, since being drafted in the 4th round back in 2022, Williams has carved out a respectable role in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. He started games, logged big playoff snaps, and brought size and length to the cornerback room. But 2024 wasn't a standout year, and the secondary is one of Kansas City's deepest and most competitive units. That's why a potential addition like Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky could cause serious ripple effects. Hairston is widely viewed as one of the most athletic, high-upside corners in the draft. If the Chiefs grab him in the 2nd or 3rd round, it's not just about depth. It's about immediate competition. Hairston and Trent McDuffie could form a terrifying 1-2 punch at corner, especially in nickel sets. Williams, while still a valuable depth piece, could be pushed down the pecking order, and he'll have to earn every snap against a young gun with starter-level traits. Shamari Connor, safety was slot, but still under the microscope, drafted in the 4th round. Just last year, Shamari Connor had a strong rookie season, starting 7 games and flashing versatility as both a slot defender and safety. But 2024 was a different story. Connor struggled in the slot, and there's growing belief that a move back to safety is imminent, and that's where things get crowded. The Chiefs already have Jaden Hicks, a breakout rookie in 2024, and Brian Cook, a proven starter at safety. If Kansas City dips back into the position in the draft, someone like Andrew Mukuba, for instance, Connor could quickly find himself fighting for rotational snaps, not starting reps. Mukuba is a hybrid. Safety with strong instincts, great range, and SEC battle scars. He'd bring exactly the kind of versatility Spagnuolo loves, and if he's drafted, Connor's role could shrink overnight. No time to get comfortable in Kansas City. This is the nature of greatness. The Chiefs aren't rebuilding, they're reloading, and that means veterans must constantly prove they belong. Kareem Hunt, Joshua Williams, Shamari Connor, all 3 have value. All 3 have played key roles, but none of them are untouchable. And if Veach finds the right pieces in the draft, the battle for playing time in training camp could get fierce. Because in Kansas City, you don't inherit snaps, you earn them. The countdown is almost over. The 2025 NFL Draft kicks off next week, and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs are once again preparing to reshape their roster from the bottom of the board. holding the 31st overall pick in the first round. But don't let that late selection fool you. When it comes to Brett Veach and the Kansas City War Room, late doesn't mean limited. The Chiefs have consistently found starters, playmakers, and even stars deep in the draft. And this year, they're in position to do it again, with only a few glaring roster holes and a front office known for aggressive trades and patient scouting. Kansas City has options. They can stand pat and take a need. They can trade up. They can even trade back to collect more picks. Everything's on the table. But according to Sports Illustrated's Gilberto Manzano, there's a dream scenario that could send a shockwave through the league and catapult Kansas City's offense right back to the top of the NFL. Take a top tier offensive lineman in the first round, then watch running back Tre'Veyon Henderson fall to them in the second. Yes, you heard that right. And if it happens, it's checkmate. In my mock draft, I had the Chiefs taking Henderson at pick number 31 instead of drafting an offensive lineman, Manzano wrote. In this dream scenario, the Chiefs get it all and draw a collective headshake from the rest of the league for getting Henderson in the second round after taking one of the top tackles at the end of the first. That's the kind of draft that flips momentum. That reloads a championship offense. That reminds the NFL who the kings of the AFC really are. Let's break it down. Round 1, offensive line reinforcement, the Chiefs' #1 priority. This offseason has been to protect Patrick Mahomes. After giving up 47 sacks in 2024, the most in Mahomes' career, the offensive line needs retooling, especially on the left side. While Jalen Moore was brought in on a short-term deal and Kingsley Suamataia is still developing, neither is a sure thing. Landing a player like Josh Connerly Jr. or Josh Simmons at pick 31 would immediately stabilize the front, giving Mahomes the time he needs to dissect defenses like only he can. It's not flashy, but it's vital. Round 2, Tre'Veyon Henderson, the game breaker. Now imagine following that up with Tre'Veyon Henderson, the most explosive running back in the class. Henderson rushed for over 1,500 scrimmage yards at Ohio State last season and brings elite burst vision and home run speed to an offense that frankly hasn't had it since prime Jamal Charles. Henderson isn't just another back. He's a weapon, a threat to score every time he touches the ball, whether it's a handoff or a screen pass. Pairing him with 2024 first-round pick Xavier Worthy, who brings track speed to the receiver room, would completely reshape how defenses prepare for the Chiefs. An improved offensive line with explosive playmakers such as Henderson and Worthy could be enough to give Patrick Mahomes a dominant offense again, Aj Manzano added. And he's absolutely right. With Henderson in the backfield, defenses can no longer sell out against Mahomes' passing game. The Chiefs would regain balance, creativity, and most importantly, explosiveness. They'd stretch the field vertically, punish over pursuit horizontally, and become a nightmare to game plan for all over again. This isn't just a nice scenario. It's a blueprint for sustained dominance. So as the draft approaches and the speculation ramps up, remember one thing, the Chiefs don't just pick players, they pick moments. And if the board breaks their way next week and Henderson somehow falls, the rest of the league won't just be chasing Mahomes, they'll be chasing shadows. The Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at pick number 31 in next week's NFL draft, a familiar spot for a franchise that hasn't just tasted success, but lived in it. But if you think Brett Veach and Andy Reid are content with watching the first round play out before casually strolling to the podium, think again. According to ESPN's Matt Miller, the Chiefs are actively working the phones and looking to move up. I've heard that the Kansas City Chiefs are actively looking to trade up in round 1, Miller wrote. They signed left, tackled Jalen Moore in free agency, but were otherwise quiet, opting to re-sign their own versus hitting the open market. A move up in round 1 would likely be for a long-term offensive tackle solution. Let's pause there. That one paragraph says everything you need to know about how Kansas City operates. This is a front office that plays the long game. They don't just chase headlines in free agency. They build, develop, and dominate through the draft. And when they identify a need, especially one that directly protects Patrick Mahomes, they don't hesitate. Just look at the Mahomes trade up in 2017, or the leap for Trent McDuffie in 2022, or the calculated move to grab Rashee Rice early in 2023. This team doesn't just draft to fill holes, they target difference makers. And right now, the biggest long-term need is clear as day: offensive tackle. Yes, Jalen Moore was signed to a 2-year deal in March, but let's be honest, that was a bridge move, not a foundation. With Donovan Smith no longer in the picture and Kingsley Suamataia still developing, the Chiefs need a franchise-caliber left tackle who can anchor the line for the next 5 to 7 years. Because with Mahomes entering his prime, every hit he takes, every blindside pressure, every pocket collapse, those are threats to a dynasty. And Kansas City isn't in the business of gambling with its most valuable player. Mahomes once again proved his greatness in 2024, throwing for 3,128 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, all while working behind a line that often looked shaky and lacked true dominance on the edge. If the Chiefs want to keep that engine running at full speed, the solution starts in the trenches. Names like Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton, or Jordan Morgan have all been floated as potential trade-up targets. Each offers athletic upside, long arms, and the kind of mobility Andy Reid covets in his tackles. And if any of them begin to slide into the low 20s, don't be surprised if Veach makes his move. But the fun doesn't stop there. Beyond the offensive line, the Chiefs also have a keen eye on playmakers. While the addition of Xavier Worthy in last year's draft helped, and the return of Rashee Rice adds stability, Kansas City still needs another receiver to stretch the field or threaten from the slot, especially as Travis Kelce winds down his historic career. This draft is loaded with intriguing WR options in the first and second rounds, including names like Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell, and Xavier Legette. Depending on how things shake out, the Chiefs could trade up for a tackle and double back with a day 2 splash at wideout. The mindset is clear, all in. Kansas City isn't playing for playoff berths. They're not drafting to stay relevant. They're building for legacy. And as long as Mahomes is in his prime, every offseason move is about maximizing the championship window. So circle Thursday night. Watch the board. Because if a top tackle starts slipping and the phone rings, the Kansas City Chiefs made a calculated decision this offseason, and it's one that could reshape the makeup of their secondary heading into 2025. Veteran safety Justin Reid was allowed to walk in free agency, ending a solid tenure in red, and gold that featured leadership, versatility, and playoff poise. But now, the back end of Steve Spagnuolo's defense looks a bit different. That's where the NFL draft comes into play. With just days left until the first round kicks off, the Chiefs have multiple directions they could go with the 31st overall pick. And while wide receiver and offensive tackle continue to dominate the headlines, defense could very well be the move, especially if a top prospect takes a surprise slide down the board. Enter Will Johnson, cornerback out of the University of Michigan. In CBS Sports' latest 3-round mock draft, analyst Mike Renner has the Chiefs taking Johnson with their first-round pick. And on paper, that might look like a stretch, but dig deeper, and you'll see why this could be one of the biggest steals of the draft. Johnson's 2024 tape was nowhere near as clean as his 2023 tape, and his lack of pre-draft testing after missing half the season due to turf toe could cause him to tumble down the board on draft day, Renner wrote. And that's exactly the kind of prospect Veach loves. A high upside player with real tape whose stock may have dipped due to injuries, not performance. Because when Will Johnson is healthy, he's a game changer. Let's talk numbers. 2023, 27 total tackles, 4 interceptions, 4 passes defended, 1 pick, 6/20/24. 14 total tackles, 2 interceptions, both returned for TDs, 2 passes defended. Even with limited snaps last season, Johnson still produced touchdowns. That's not just cornerback talent. That's playmaker DNA. And for a Chiefs defense that's evolving, that's exactly what's needed. With Trent McDuffie already playing at an all-pro level and the recent signing of former Titan CB Christian, Fulton, the Chiefs are building a new-look cornerback unit, but they're missing one more alpha, one more long-term answer with versatility, ball skills, and the ability to take away one side of the field. Johnson could be that guy. He's big, physical, and aggressive in coverage. When healthy, he can press, mirror, and high point the football with authority. His technique may need refinement, especially after the injury layoff, but give him a season under Spags and DB's coach Dave Merritt, and you're looking at a potential day one starter or a shutdown CB2 behind McDuffie. If not for the injury, he's a top 20 pick. That's the kind of calculated risk that Kansas City thrives on. Take a swing at 31, get a high ceiling prospect on a cheap rookie deal, and give your defense the depth and juice it needs to keep dominating in January. Because let's face it, Mahomes can carry the offense. But in today's NFL, you don't win Super Bowls without a top-tier secondary. And if Will Johnson is still there when the Chiefs are on the clock, you don't hesitate. You sprint the card in.